Welcome back to Under the Surface, the show where we talk about everything the Bazaar. In this episode, we take a look at the new lore surrounding two groups, the Corsairs and the Cloudtops. We discuss who these groups are, what implications they have for the government in the Bazaar, and how exactly Vanessa got to the Bazaar in the first place. So, let's dive under the surface. All right, welcome back everybody to another lore-related Under the Surface. And today we want to discuss the Atlast Archives video that they dropped about the Cloudtops and the Corsairs, two groups we really didn't know anything about. I mean, in terms of the Cloudtops, I don't think we knew anything.
No, I
and
don't
so,
think so. Corsairs were sort of introduced.
Yeah, and they were just like sort of there. Like we didn't have any lore on them. But Corsairs are essentially all the pirate people you've seen throughout the game. Some of them are, paid for by like the Tyrant King, for example, who's after Vanessa. But some of them also seem to just be your average run-of-the-mill pirates who want to loot, pillage, that sort of thing. And then the Cloudtops are kind of the exact opposite of pirates. They're air-based and they're very stuck up and bought for by the elites of the Bazaar. They sort of seem like a mix between kind of like a military for the elite and maybe a little bit of like a police force. Maybe isn't the right word, but there seems to be like an implication that they enforce law in the lore video. So
And not even an implication, it's outright stated that they enforce law laid out by Bazaar aristocrats. So
yeah,
I mean, you were comparing those groups to each other, and like we already know Harkuvians, for example, and they are also a sort of like a private army / mercenaries, and Cloudtops seem to fulfill the exact same role. So I would assume that there are some sort of like oligarchy type stuff going on in the Bazaar, where there are like, imagine in the Arcane, the League of Legends TV series, or Netflix series, the zone was ruled by a couple of clans, sort of, they had their representatives or heads or whatever you want to call it. And I think there is a similar vibe here. I would assume so. And
definitely seems that way. I kind of get the impression that from this video, I get the impression that the Cloudtops are sort of the number one. And then like the Harkuvians and others are maybe more regional, because we kind of took this like opinion from the Bazaar Anarchy video we made about how there's no real system of government or anything, that maybe the Bazaar is more split up into sections and kind of ruled by families and different like groups in different parts of the Bazaar. But this makes it seem a little more unified. You know what I mean? The fact that there's this large group that is serving the aristocrats.
Yeah, but I was getting at it just a second ago, as in you said that there might be some division, like some parts of the land might be, might belong to different aristocrat groups, different clans, for example. And Cloudtops, seem very proud, so maybe they serve like the most elite, the richest guys in the Bazaar. However, we know that those Harkuvians exist, and there are some like shady characters in the Bazaar as well. Like there's Mr. Moo, who definitely is some sort of mafia boss, and also like this Harrow character, Boss Harrow, right? So he's also some sort of mafia boss. So we know that there are groups in the Bazaar that rule certain parts of it. And perhaps Cloudtops and the aristocrats that they serve are just like the very upper echelon of the Bazaar, elites and whatever you.
These are the Elon Musks, the Jeff Bezoses, like there's no roles for them.
Yeah, exactly. So they are like pharaohs in the sense that they are not sort of beholden to the law. They write the laws, in that sense. So they are strong-arming the populace to follow the rules that they have established.
The Bazaar government, if you want to call it a government, it just continues to mystify and bewilder us.
Yeah, I would assume that this is more like, there are those families, those aristocrats who, based on their wealth, can establish rules for everybody else to follow because they are essentially owners of the Bazaar. That's how I would understand that situation. So there's no formal government like this people elected government, but just people who own that part of land and allow others to live there, but they must just do what they tell them.
Sounds like a beautiful and wonderful system.
Oh yeah.
I guess the other thing that really interested me from this particular video is the sea gate that brings people from Pelago to the bazaar. And we've sort of speculated many times now about how in the world did these people get here? Like, how does Vanessa get to the bazaar? Does she just fly through space? Fortunately, it doesn't seem that she does. But I'm kind of curious because the sea gate is like a thing that they kind of imply with the image that it's the tropical island card is the Seagate. I don't know if
I
that's just
mean,
what they used or
I would assume that the Seagate is on the tropical island, not that the whole tropical island is the Seagate. Like maybe you have to go through the waterfall and then you are on the other side of the waterfall. Well, in the bazaar, right? Maybe there's another waterfall in the bazaar, and if you go through it, you can move between worlds. Because it's also said that Pelago is far away world, or however they worded it. So like Pelago and Bazaar are definitely far from each other in terms of space.
I kind of wonder if the Seagate thing kind of opens up a whole new idea that maybe most travel between worlds is sort of through gates rather than air travel or like space travel, because we've only seen like one spaceship.
Like portal technology, like Rick and Morty, that type of stuff, or more like a Stargate? Is that what the series called?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like we haven't actually seen what this gate looks like, which would be really, I think would clear it up. I feel like it would feel more fantasy, or maybe like in the sense of like maybe it's like this old archaic technology, which is kind of how it is in Stargate, that like you can travel between and they're sort of like they've reawakened these portals and they just sort of lead wherever they lead, something like that.
I mean, we could also infer from that other planets are also connected to the Bazaar through these portals, and maybe this is the reason why Bazaar is this cradle of different technologies, communities, and whatnot, because the Bazaar is the sort of originator of the portals. Like imagine the treasure planet, which we have discussed on this show before, but like there was this, I think, map which allowed you to jump between various worlds. So maybe the bazaar is like this crossroads between worlds. Let's just imagine this type of stuff, and it connects various places, but those, let's say Pelago and let's say Max planet or whatever, or Jabalia, they are not connected directly, but you have to go through the bazaar to go from Pelago to the Jabalia, for example. So this is sort of like space crossroads, space station in some even regards.
I really like that idea too, because it gives us sort of like a real reason for the bazaar to be as important in the world, in the universe as it is. Because right now it's just kind of like this place that exists and we don't really know why, but that would make a lot of sense if
so imagine
everything's forcibly connected.
Yeah, imagine Nufu on what was the planet called? Philia? Phyllis?
Yeah. Phyllis, yeah.
Imagine if he discovered a portal on Phyllis and arrived in the bazaar. Like, let's say he was the first and he established his dojo. He maybe invited some of his friends over. And then it turned out that more creatures, more aliens started arriving on the bazaar because, there were other portals of which he was unaware of. And, more people started coming from different places and, it started growing. That, I don't know, like maybe that's the deal here. Like, or it also sort of reminds me of the series by DJ McHale called Pendragon. I'm not sure if you have read it, but there was
I'm aware of it, but
yeah, there was this idea that there were sort of like portals or gateways between planes of existence, and you could travel between them. So maybe there's a similar property to bazaar and those portals or sea gates.
I really like the idea of it being like an ancient technology too, because it kind of makes sense why they can't just build more everywhere and make some sort of a resource. I don't know, there's so many cool things to do with it. And We also still have the issue of like we don't even know what the world of the bazaar looks like. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about in the previous lore episode. Like we don't know what's on the other side and how big is it, and I don't know. There's so many questions. Please, lore team,
I mean,
we need answers.
what are the chances that shadow government, us, when we are, analyzing and scrutinizing the law, we are, giving ideas to the law team, so they are, shaping the law and the story around our analysis. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we know. Hey, we know some of them watch, so
I mean,
or
yeah,
have in the past.
exactly. So, yeah, cheers to the law team.
Yeah, I mean, the lore's hype in this game.
I think we could focus on the Corsairs for a bit here, because, first of all, what is a Corsair? Because most of the people might think, yeah, that's a pirate. However, Corsair has a bit broader meaning if you get to it, because, yeah, Corsair can be a pirate. However, it can also mean a pirate who is employed by a government. So essentially, they are sort of commissioned to attack ships of other nationalities. And it not necessarily means that they have to be employed, but they can be either way. They can be independent, or they can be employed by a government. And that's a corsair. While a privateer would mean strictly that they are employed by a government to attack ships of different countries. So there's this little like gray area where Vanessa is called a corsair, and all those blood reefs are called a corsairs, and for blood reefs like captain, the raider, and I'm not sure if Radiant Corsair and Veteran Octopus are also part of Blood Reef gang, because that's the clan of the Tyrant King from Pelago. So those guys are sort of employed by the Tyrant King, and he's also, well, a king, so we might assume that he's some sort of government. He forms a government on Pelago. So yeah, those are the Corsairs that are, well, part of a government. They wouldn't attack each other, presumably. But Vanessa, yeah, she's also considered a corsair. So is she employed by somebody, or is she a regular pirate that she's on her own, essentially? But there's this idea where before the Tyrant King, Vanessa's father was ruling the Pelago as a king, right? And Vanessa, it's implied that she was a princess, right? So, like, usually princesses don't go for like a pirate's life unless they are in the Pirates of the Caribbean cinematic universe, or whatever you want to call it, because I don't remember what was the lady called in that movies.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, but you know who I mean, like the girl that like the Legolas like who Legolas likes, so yeah, that lady was also sort of from nobility, and she ended up a pirate. So maybe Vanessa, wanted to become a pirate. Like that was maybe her dream. So her father decided, like, oh, sure, you can be a pirate, but you're going to be a corsair for me. You're going to work for me, and you're not going to, sort of inhibit my workings as a government. So you can attack only ships that do not belong to us. And that would sort of make sense. Like that would be a supporting father.
Yeah, well, she comes from like a water world full, that's like an island type world too. So maybe it's just sort of like an implied thing that a lot of people are going to be pirate types. And you think the princess is like usually the person who does the least amount of work in that sort of society, but maybe she's just cool like that. But there's also the chance that it happened after her father passed away. I think it's like
so that was a response to him getting murdered. Like she wants, we know she wants revenge, but like she decided to become a pirate to get revenge, right? That's what you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but one thing that what you have said, I would like for you to clarify, because you said that perhaps most people on Pelago are pirates, and I don't think that can work in the sense of like economy, because like if like only the small subset of people are generating goods and just acquire some items, like they generate profit, so only then pirates can steal that profit. Because if most people are pirates, they would essentially just, I don't know, like trade those items.
Yeah.
Like one guy pillages the other guy, so the third guy comes and pillages the first guy, and it's just
Well, I misspoke kind of. I kind of just meant like there's probably most people's jobs involve being in this on the sea, and there's probably a lot of pirate types already out there. So
okay. Yeah.
like that experience may have already existed for her, regardless of if she was like actually a full blown pirate or corsair, or whatever she was before.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be really funny if like she was like this like dainty princess girl, and then her father died, and she was like turned into the Vanessa we know.
New haircut, new me. I mean, that would be pretty cool. Like, is some sort of establishing law, like that she was a princess, imagine, and then she had, let's say, long curly hair or whatever, like, yeah, long lustrous hair, and then her father dies, and oh no, I'm now a badass girl, and she just cuts her hair off, and now she's Vanessa.
That would be a cool skin too, like a before she went like not crazy, but before she went like angry and vengeful.
Yeah, but what about those blood reefs? Because yeah, I think we have like it was confirmed that clan of the Tyrant King is called Blood Reefs because yeah, that's the implication here. So his people, his lackeys, followed Vanessa through the sea gate to get to the bazaar. So I would say that for certain, Blood Reef Captain is still following Tyrant King's orders, while it is implied that the Blood Reef Raider has sort of broken out of the whole loop and he's now independent.
I can't remember exactly what they say, but yeah, they basically say like after he got to the bazaar, he just forged his own path. So, I mean, have we seen the other blood reefs besides those two?
See, on the same, like, on the same screen, when they are showing Radiant Corsair and giving his like quips, like his quotes on or whatever, there's like Radiant Corsair on the screen as well. So, I mean, Radiant Corsair is a Corsair, but it is not stated whether Radiant Corsair is part of the Blood Reef gang. But since they are on the same screen, it is sort of implied, at least for me.
Yeah, and also, I mean, then you also have the veteran octopus too, who it kind
Exactly.
of seems like they all come from that. They all come from that world at least. But I mean, it's a world dominated by the Tyrant King, and I assume the Tyrant King's not an idiot, so he probably has that sea gate like guarded. You know what I mean? Like not letting people in or out unless he
I
says.
mean, yeah, that would make sense, but
So
who knows? Like, maybe, like, imagine this. Maybe Vanessa was running away, because she was overwhelmed. Like, we know that there was the first ever video that they showed for Vanessa. There was some form of battle, right? And then she ran away to the bazaar. Now we know that she went through the sea gate. So what if Tyrant King sent a fleet after Vanessa? So that was Blood Reef Captain, Blood Reef Raider, Radiant Corsair, and Veteran Octopus. So let's say 4 ships, maybe more. Who knows? But like we are definitely in the know in terms of those 4. And let's say the information about the sea gate was somehow a secret. Only, let's say, Vanessa's family knew about it. Those, what are they called? Corzina? I think that's it.
oh yeah, House Corzina. Yeah.
Exactly. So imagine that's some sort of secret knowledge that only they have. And, Vanessa runs away and they follow her through the sea gate. So there was nobody to like relay the information to the Tyrant King. So Tyrant King still has no information about what has happened because like Vanessa has, vanished and part of his fleet, like at least 4 ships have also vanished. So, maybe there's some intrigue there.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting because like maybe he thinks like a big storm swept them all away or something, and
Yeah, maybe
she's dead and gone.
exactly.
It's like the Bermuda Triangle for Pelago.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
cool. I like that idea too because the Tyrant King has no clue she's still alive, and then I don't know, like we've talked about doing like events in game in the future, and that could be some sort of like story lore type event. You know what I mean? Where maybe he finds out she's alive and sends a whole new group of people to the bazaar to take care of her. Or
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like between all of those little details, there's definitely a story to be told. Like, if not a TV series, at least a novel. You know, I think there's space to do that.
on a full theatrical released movie.
I mean, yeah, that would be pretty
I
cool.
don't think it's going to happen soon, but yeah. I mean, come on, Lore Department, drop some short stories, drop something.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think they have enough funding to, do proper animation. I mean, I would assume that just doing those sort of slideshow episodes or whatever, like they still need to be employed, and they have to write that law, and it has to be cohesive. I think they have enough work as it is, especially since there's only like 3 guys there, like the law guy, the video guy, and the narrator, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention that because it's 3 people making these videos basically, and that's pretty. I mean, there's a lot to put together, right? And these, even if they're just short 3-minute videos, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also,
go ahead.
we need to be like mindful of the fact that it's not that only that they make only those videos, but like whole like law for the game, like all the items have to make sense inside of the bazaar, like inside of the story, and like future, let's say, heroes and items and whatnot also have to have to make sense to be placed into the game. So they are also doing all of that behind the scenes, like behind the curtain, and we don't see that, but it happens.
There's a lot that goes into making a video game, especially a good video game, because they could just not do any of this. Like, games opt to do that, and they are not taking the easy road. So we thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's engagement, like it's definitely for people like us. And yeah, I definitely enjoy the story, and there's a lot of like, mysteries there. Like, we are trying to piece together a story and all those intricacies between the elements that have been presented, but a lot can happen still.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's just good sci-fi / fantasy world building. Like, it's just so rich. So yeah.
At the very end of the video, there's this insanely like cool turtle with a ship on its back. Like a whole island with a sort of, I would assume, maybe even shipwreck. Like, dude, that's so metal. That's metal AF.
Oh yeah, I kind of meant to bring that up too, because I assume that's a I don't know. I could figure out if that's like a battle or if it's a item.
That's
Future
totally
item.
a large item.
It's beautiful.
I mean, I would call that like, that's rhino turtle, sort of. I don't know, because there are all those like rocky growths on the turtle's skin, and also the shell feels rocky. I don't know, but I really like it.
What do you think the item would do? I feel like it would have to slow since it's a turtle.
Yeah,
No.
perhaps, but firstly, I think we can assume that it's going to be aquatic, but whether it would be vehicle or property, I would assume that it's most likely a vehicle, and maybe even a friend.
Maybe it's like does a ridiculous amount of damage, and if you fall below half health, it slows all enemy items for 10 seconds or something. I don't know. Like one of those types of items.
Oh, actually, I mean, that's a really random thought, but what about like a new mechanic, let's say submerge or whatever, whenever you are like below half health, something is activated. So, a turtle could be like over the surface of the sea, and then it could submerge or whatever, the other way around.
Are you saying it could have been under the surface?
Perhaps I did. Yeah, okay.
Well, I guess we'll see what it does, but let us know if you're team Cloudtops or team Corsairs.
Oh, yeah.
Or what are you? I'll put you on the spot.
Oh, right. Should I answer? Like, am I team Corsair or team Cloudtops? Right. I feel like Cloudtops feel like really proud, like they are, I don't know, like they wouldn't be fun to be around. They are definitely really strict and all that. So I must say Corsairs.
Agreed. So if you disagree, write an angry comment, maybe a few, maybe get your friends to write angry comments too. Totally not just looking for engagement.
Yeah, tell us we are filthy ground folk.
Yeah, and we'll Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and
Yeah.
we'll see you on Unhed's channel on Monday.
Definitely. So bye.
See you.